Welcome to Deep Thought. Spirit versus the machine. The machine. I was thinking about it, and I was watching something on Netflix. And you know what? I forgot the title of it. Oh man, I forgot the title of it, but it had to do with facial. I forgot what the title. I can't think of the title, but it had to do with facial recognition technology, and but one of the things they, of course, looking at the faces, scanning your faces, but they were also talking about how big data, AI, is making judgments about people. And that's more significant because think about it. People are being judged on whether or not they can get an apartment or a house, a certain percentage on their loan, even jobs based on a credit score. And in fact, during that documentary, they were talking about how people, they, according to a score, they could have been they had an example of a teacher. They had an example of a teacher who was doing real well, but because of some AI scores, it was felt he wasn't doing a great job, even though he had numerous awards and everything. And I'm gonna tell you what, I was thinking about that. I mean, so much is coming down to artificial intelligence, not taking in consideration the character of someone, because on that same doc, I cannot think of the name of it. I'll look it up and put a link to it in the description box. And I ain't think about the name of it because, well, when I'm doing this, I'm just flowing. But I'm gonna tell you what. The problem is we're getting too technical, too mechanical. We're not thinking about what the human cost is. I was talking with a consultation client the other night, and he was talking about they starting to automate. He's a truck driver. I ain't gonna give his name, but he's a truck driver. And we were talking to business stuff and logistics and everything. Big business, but they starting to really experiment with these driverless trucks. And my thought was, what's the human cost of that? Like even on a bigger level, even beyond that, they're talking about AI is replacing so many things. AI is replacing so many jobs. Indeed, you might even call someone up for customer service. It might really be having a conversation with an AI. It's getting that sophisticated. And they've shown instances where they can mimic a human voice and their response and everything. And indeed, I've dealt with some customer service, and I know I'm dealing with AI. They'll give a name, but this is AI. Everything they ask and everything. And you're just like, okay. But the problem with it is that's taking away jobs. And who's that affecting? Because a job is more than just money. It's a person's livelihood, how they're getting through life. And also, too, when you're talking about decisions like credit, things of that nature, credit worthiness, whether or not you can actually work a job, the human factor is being taken out. Think about it, someone's ability to actually do a good job is determined by how much credit they have. In fact, this was years ago, I remember, because I worked 1,000 jobs, and I remember I had applied to this retail place, which is kind of going out of business, but we ain't gonna call any names. And I had to get my credit score. I'm like, dude, I just need this job. And in my credit, I've said publicly on my business channel, especially, my credit was jacked up. That's still another book I gotta write, how to rise from that. I have no problem saying it. So anybody want to dox me and stuff, I already gave that away. I'm proud of it too, because, well, shoot. I'll just say a few points from 800 now. So, morning. Anyway, right? The thing is, though, right? You're just like, well, hold up. Does that have anything to do with the person's ability to actually follow directions? Like, okay, let me give you a great example with that. Okay, they're using artificial numbers to determine if somebody's worthy of a loan, right? worthy of a loan, maybe a mortgage loan, maybe a job, something like that. But then it's taking away the human factor of being right there. Like, okay, I've yeah, 1,000 things. So I've been privy to what some human resources and managers would look at when they're looking for a job. Here's another example, because I mentioned before, I worked as an investigator. And I started though with this investigative company, right, down at the DC courthouse. They gave me the ropes until I went independent. But I remember I was with the owner of the company and we were going through resumes. And now, if that was an AI going through the resume, they would pick certain people, they had everything going on for them and even had the better looking resumes. Now, I saw one resume, it didn't look as good as the other ones. It wasn't as polished, like physically polished. I never forget the owner said, yeah, that's the guy we'll talk to. And I was like, why? It don't look as good as the others. He schooled me on this. He said, he's hungrier. He's hungrier. He's more open to learn something. He'll go out and make that money. I was like, oh. So he's doing that from his perspective, because this was a veteran investigator, so he knew how to read people. He knew how to read motivations. But an AI looking at the same thing probably wouldn't give that guy a chance. I want you to think about it though. And so, and the title of this was Spirit. One of the things is it's getting so mechanical. We're forgetting the spiritual part of it. Because sometimes you might, like somebody going for a loan, they might go in for that loan, and if they relying on AI and everything, like they might not get it. But then they go in and actually speak with somebody, and that person can get a good feel for them, especially if they got experience, and say, nah, this is a person who's going to work hard. Indeed, I always say salespeople can read people real well. They'll say, okay, this is a person who will work hard. Meanwhile, somebody who might look good on paper or, pass some scores might do a lousy job. I give you another example. I've worked retail. I remember I had someone working under me who was a literal rocket scientist. So he had high IQ, everything. And she was another person who was a problem. I mentioned her before. She was actually a college professor. They weren't the best workers. They weren't the best workers. And in fact, I remember that same job, my immediate manager, she actually didn't hire someone who had like 2 degrees, could speak another language, had all this going on. And the young lady eventually went on, because I was actually friends with the young lady. She went on to do some other stuff. So, but the manager didn't want to hire. And the manager didn't want to hire for one simple reason. She said she would go on, she would leave. And she was right. Like I said, this particular young lady, she was too sharp for it, but she just needed something real quick. But she would have left anyway. This is somebody who has a very successful business, works for the government, had a house built from scratch. But the AI would have been like, oh yeah, take her. But she would have left after a month anyway, just on her own. But what's happening is the machine is taking the human element out of everything. And that could hurt on so many levels. Like, let's get back to that jobs thing. Okay, AI is taking so many jobs. How many people who might just need a little bit of money, just need that money, not getting it now? And it's easy to say, well, just get another job. And yeah, they got a bunch of little jobs out here, but the jobs report is deceptive. They'll have a bunch of jobs that are 12 hours and not really doing much, So that's deceptive. Or they could be temporary. You always get more jobs around the Christmas season. And then, especially in retail, then people get fired like sometimes before Christmas and definitely in January. But that's neither here nor there. But the whole thing is, you got to have the spirit element into it. Like I was getting into about the just having the jobs. If these people don't have jobs, that affects them on so many other ways. They can't pay for things. They might have trouble living. And then, honestly, you have these major shareholders, these rich people who like, oh, let me get AI. I can get more money for themselves. Well, unless they bring up universal basic income, They're gonna have these people won't be able to buy their products. So to me, they're not really thinking about anything. Seriously. But here's the thing, and here's my position on this. You have to have a balance between spirit, because you have to bring the human element in, but then the machine needs to be a tool and not the dominant thing. I want y'all to think about that. It shouldn't dominate today. It should be simply a tool, but the human element still need to be there. I want y'all to think about that. And I would just say what will be happening in the next few decades, there will be a battle between both. Because you have many people, they kind of rejecting the machine and will use it as a tool at best. You have a whole artisan economy coming up. That's more people based. But we'll see in the battle to come. But there will be a spirit versus machine dynamic. I want y'all to think about this, okay? And I'll get back with y'all later. Peace and blessings.